Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be building out, as requested, a $10,000 dual loadout, which means realistically we're going to try and split 5k budget towards T side and 5k towards CT, and you can see I've sold my gloves, and honestly for this loadout I've taken a little bit of inspiration towards what would be my new kind of like ultimate skins I would want myself. So a little bit of bias in there, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So with that, on the CT side, we'll start there. We're going to have minimal wear amphibious gloves, which are $1,420. Yes, they're still going to have wear off them. That's the nature of the amphibious gloves. It is what it is. But we can pair it with an M9 bayonet Doppler. Phase 3, not going Sapphire. As much as I think the Sapphire does look good, it's not worth the price increase. And also, it would take us well over budget. But this, for me, as a combo, $2,770. It absolutely slaps. One of the best knives in the game, with one of the best finishes in the game, with a clean pair of minimal wear sports gloves. What's not to love here? Now, it wouldn't be my usual pick, but I'm actually going to go for Commander Frank Wet Socks as my CT agent. So I'm kind of playing into the amphibious naming here by going for an agent that's water-based, and then Wet Socks, and he's a scuba diver, and at least there's like this blue and black, which to an extent kind of pairs into what we're doing with the knife and glove combo. A small part of me wanted to suggest a tier 1 blue gem Alpine Camo, but I thought I'd keep it nice and simple and go for what is probably my preference here. Monster Mashup in Factory New. I'm personally a huge fan of blue base skins with green accents. I think they also look great with the amphibious, so just under $45 for this. Also prices from the 10th and 11th of February, if you're wondering. Yeah, absolutely banging pick. Now, because we're doing dual-sided loadouts, we're going to have different P250 and Deagle skins depending on the side. So for my CT pick, mate, you've got a very nice Desert Hydra. For my CT pick, Undertow Factory New, $35 is going to be the play. And I think it's a pretty obvious choice when it comes to the Desert Eagle. We're going to be going for the Cobalt Disruption. Now, what I like about this is S tier blue Desert Eagle skin, right? It's only $75 though, which means it's incredibly nice and incredibly clean to have in the loadout. Also, on that water element a little bit, we're going to have the Hydra Strikes. Absolutely love these dual Berettas. They're $2.75 for minimal wear. Even if field tested, they still look great. Banging pick. And for the 5.7, I thought I'd go a little bit different, not go Hyper Beast. I'm going to go for the foil play. One, because it's cheaper. Minimal wear, you can get this for about $4. And I kind of like the naming and the joke off it and the chicken feathers. And it's not a perfect color blue, but there are some lacking options outside of Force and Hyper Beast here on the 5.7, and I want to put that budget elsewhere. Such as going absolutely nuts on the MP9 and picking up a Pandora's Box. Now, this is $163 factory new. Absolutely worth it. When you've got a 10k budget and you're going even dual theme or single theme, if it's blue, this has to be the pick, and I think otherwise it actually works in it really well with the amphibious gloves. Now, there are still areas where we go really nice and budget-friendly, because we don't need to overspend. So, like the MP7, not used that often, but you do want to have a skin for every weapon equipped. So, 22 cents for this in minimal wear for me is a solid pickup. And keeping that theme, I'm going to admit, this isn't a perfect blue pairing, but I don't really care for the UMPs. It would be a better pairing for the exact color match. I think you go $2.18, field test at Primal Saber, job's a good one, and just leave it there. I am a huge fan of the XM choice, though, because you can go for an XOXO, and if you're not aware, this is a pattern-based skin. This is a blue-pink pattern, 126. You can see the amount of blue and pink that's on it. It's not a max pattern, so overpay's not crazy. You could get this in minimal wear for about $4. And then, really nice, consistent pick for the Mag 7 here. If you're going blue loadout and you've got the budget, it has to be the Justice. In minimal wear, it's going to run you just under $5 at the minute. Now, I'm going to go against my own bias, and I'm going to suggest the Blue Phosphor as the A1S skin. Now, this is $560. I'm not going to deny this skin is incredibly nice. Like, it is a very, very nice, clean skin, and it has a lot of craft potential. So, this is going to be the #1 pick. I think the majority would prefer that. I want to put out an alternative, which is the Icarus Fell. Now, I think if you had to argue which one had the best blue pairing for it, it's probably going to be the Blue Phosphor, and that's why it ultimately took #1 spot. For me personally, I prefer getting a nice pattern like this on the Icarus Fell, and you can get like some really nice Cloud9 Team Liquid CLG holocrafts on them, which just absolutely cook, and this is $80 cheaper at $480. Alright guys, my dumbass has realised I skipped over the M4A4 while recording the video. It is going to be the Emperor, of course. Like, what else would I be picking here? I'm showing mine. Ignore the fact it's got a Vitality Craft on it. It's like $53, $54 for minimal wear. That is your pick. And I got a little bit stuck for the op. If I was building this myself, I don't op. I'd literally just buy an Aetheris and I would chill, right? It's got a blue base, it does the job. But I know some of you guys might opt. So I've gone for the Silk Tiger here. Now, my small issue is that it has no scope design, which is a little bit of a letdown. It is pattern-based though, so you can hunt for that, but it's also not a perfect blue. So this is where I really want your guys' help. What op within this budget would you pick for CT side? Obviously, unlimited budget, a Gungnir would be perfect, but realistically, would you go with Theris? Would you go for Silk Tiger, or is there something else you think would work? One of the easier picks is going to be the Waters of Nephthys. Now, this is $72 minimal wear. It has had an increase in price since the update. It's also not a perfect blue shading pairing, but Amphibious, mentions water, all that goodness. It pairs in well enough for me. I like it. And then we end off the CT side with an AUG, not a Scout, so please don't flame me. If you want a Scout, go buy an Abyss. But for the AUG, I'm going to say Arctic Wolf. $2.99, minimal wear. Solid pickup for you here. It has blue. It's not the right blue, it's a darker blue, but it also has that white. Has some red accents popping through. Overall, for the sake of $3 and a 10k loadout, I think it's worth picking up. And that marks our blue CT side. And obviously, with the theme of the video, we're going to be changing colours as we go to the T side. And man, do I like the T side combo. We have a minimal wear Specialist Gloves Emerald Web with a Huntsman Emerald Gamma Doppler in factory new. So obviously you can see I've went for minimal wear for the gloves both times because I do want the gloves to be as clean as possible. I think in a 10k loadout you really shouldn't be dealing with having like massive scuffs on the gloves. So while the emerald webs and the emeralds still have a slight shade difference, I think these hedge maze weren't an option if we're being real. This and an emerald is definitely the play, but it is $4,000, so it's $1,300, more like $1,200 more expensive than the CT combo, which does then restrict what we have for the weapon skins a little bit. And I forgot to mention, we are using Sir Bloody Skullhead Darrell. You get the gold accents. This is not them. It is this lovely gentleman. I'll say $31, almost $32. Gets the gold accents, that's all I really wanted with the tattoos there, and then will look cool anyway in-game. Now, despite having so much budget in the Knife and Glove combo, we can still cook on weapon skins, so we are going to get Glock 18 Gamma Doppler Emerald in factory new for $560. I'm not going to lie, it's a lot to spend for a Glock, but when you've got the budget and the capability to do so, I think it's worth it. Over in the P350, we're not spending anywhere near as much. I'm going to say see you later. Now, this is under $5 minimal wear. Yes, it's a blue-based skin, but it's got a nice enough amount of green on it. You could place a green sticker on that back slot just to cover up some of the blue if you really want to. But just vibe with this. You don't have to break the bank. Just enjoy it. Then what you can also enjoy is spending $360 on an Emerald Yermangander. My absolute favorite Desert Eagle in the game. Factory new, $360. It is pattern-based, so you can try and get the Yermangander patterns as well if you want to. They will come with overpay. Maybe you can snipe one, but this absolute S-tier looking combo. But then we do go cheap and cheerful for the Tech 9 because a Bamboozle is under $1 for minimal wear, and while a Bamboo Forest could be cool, I think Bamboozle just fits the bill here, so we don't need to force spending more because the budget's higher when we don't actually have to spend that much. And then I'm going to lean into the ZZ Eco if you are using it, and if you're not, it's $1.38, so it's not really going to hit the budget that much at all, but it's minimal wear and it looks really clean, and I think that green onto the green, despite slightly different shading colours, does look good. Now, over in the Mac 10, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer that you should be going for the Nuclear Garden. In factory new, it'll run you about $10. If you don't vibe with the Nuclear Garden, I'm going to say just go buy an Allure. It's like $1.15 factory new if you want a factory new. That's the Mac 10 I personally use myself, but I think Nuclear Garden with the green of these Emerald Webs looks pretty solid. Now, for the 4 other SMGs, you're not going to use them that much, so I've not spent that much budget on them. I've tried to be realistic. So, MP7 is going to be the most expensive of the bunch. $2.51 for the Empire in minimal wear. MP7 skins kind of lack a little bit, but this one is at least pretty cool looking with a little sort of like devil demons on it, and it's not really breaking the bank in the grand scheme. For the UMP, we can get the Plastique, which is pretty much $1 for minimal wear. Again, this is one of those skins that I've never really loved, but I can appreciate for the sake of $1 to get a skin that fits in with the loadout, and you're not going to use it too much. We don't have to overthink it that badly. Now, unfortunately, I had to ditch my MP5 agenda, so we are going to have a P90. I'm going to say you go for the Grim here. It's 13 cent, it's minimal wear, does the job, lovely stuff. And I do actually quite like the PP Bison pick, because you can get a Fuel Rod for $1.31 in minimal wear. I'm pretty sure this is still the skin I have myself that I was running with my Nox and Emerald combo from way back, so I like actually just that nuclear green waste in the magazine. I think it's kind of cool. And on to the big ones now. The last 5 weapons. We're going to have the Gail Eco in-field tested for $7.20. Obviously, this is going to pick up some scuffs and wear. It's a little bit of a shame, but I think $7 for it. You can do some really nice crafts on this as well. There's a huge range of stickers you can do crafts with, from cheap to expensive. So have a bit of fun there. And the one thing a lot of people have probably been wondering, what AK am I going for? And it's going to be a Fire Serpent. Field test it, $850. You can get one that's like a middle field tested float, so it reduces the amount of scuffs on it. Magazine will be pretty clean. You're probably still going to get scuffs on the elbow of the Serpent, but I do think this is the right choice because hydroponic would cost more money. This is a new inspect animation. I actually kind of fuck with it. Kind of cool. It would cost more money. Oh, you can see the back of the gun really well there. But it would cost more money and it would be even more scuffed. So I think Fire Serpent 100% the right pick. Then we get a pretty perfect pairing. Op Containment Breach. I'm going minimal wear on it. $151. But those greens blend really, really nicely together. And if we're being honest, this is an S tier op. It might be sat behind the Dragonor and the Gungnir and the Desert Hydra, but it is definitely in that S tier, especially for value for money. And then we end it off with two pretty cheap skins. Now, this is a Acid Fade. It's factory new. It's $1. I've kind of put $1 in because you can get Acid Fades that have a much more green on them. And I'm going to grab mine just to show an example. So this, for example, is a 96% fade percentage, I believe. And I didn't pay any overpay for it at all. So you can see how that green might look better off the whole way down it. So hunt for a pattern you like. You're not going to have to pay much overpay. It is what it is. And then, I don't know who uses the SG these days. I kind of wish it could become somewhat meta again. But if you are going to use one, 72 cents for a Dragon Tech will do the job for you nicely in minimal wear. And that means the total loadout cost is $10,045. So we're $45 over budget to do this full dual loadout. But when you're spending 10 grand, I don't think $45 is much of an issue personally. And that is going to round off the video. For me, I'm absolutely loving the Amphibious at the minute. We wanted to knock this out of the park. I actually thought quite a while about which colours we go for. And I thought blue on CT and green on T was probably going to get us the best overall sort of vibey complete loadout. I would really like for you guys to let me know in the comments down below which colour theme would you have went for CT and T side if you're given $10,000 budget to build a dual loadout. Really interested to hear what you guys say. Outside of that, I'm going to end the waffling because I'm still a little bit ill and I can feel my throat going. So before I go though, a big thank you to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. You guys help me continue to do what I do whilst also balancing full-time work. So it's greatly appreciated. A big thank you. And outside of that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.